watching Super Dave Raines.
Welcome to Big Show Entertainment Network interview series. Real people, real interviews, real places. And we are at the Tattered Cover Bookstore here in Aspen Grove with a very, very special guest. It is an honor to have and to welcome back to the program award-winning author Sue Duff, the author of the Weir Chronicles. Sue, welcome back to Big Show Entertainment Network. How have you been?
To be here. Yeah, I'm doing great. Thank you.
All right, awesome. You know, our last visit, you had a wonderful group of people here for a smashingly successful book signing for your new book, the fourth book in the Weir Chronicles, Stack a Deck. So how is it going with the book?
It's going fantastic. I was just thrilled to find out that within the first week of it being available that it hit the Denver Post bestseller list. So, yeah, that's the second book in a row in the series that's done that. So it's wonderful to know that there's fans out there that can't wait to pick up the next book and are just enjoying them one after another.
Right. Well, that's excellent. So, well, I've got a question for you. So, this is like our third or fourth interview. So, if I get down on one knee, are you going to say yes this time?
No, but I appreciate the fact that you keep trying.
I'm being consistent and persistent, Super Cool Nation. So awesome. So how, that's excellent that you hit the Denver Post bestseller list with Stack a Deck. I was very, very impressed with the group of fans that showed up for your book signing. They really, really love your work and love you. So that's excellent. Is this your best work?
You mean as far as Stack a Deck? Yeah. I like to think that the more I write novels, I just keep getting better and better. I'm certainly not sitting back on my laurels and thinking I don't need to keep honing this craft. I definitely keep working at it, and I'm hoping that really shows in the stories. I've read a lot of series where it kind of fizzles after a while, and it's a shame that the author didn't just kind of cut it shorter, but I just keep getting bigger and bigger raves with each book, and so obviously I'm keeping the fans entertained and looking forward to the next one. So I count that as a plus and also an indicator that I'm just becoming that much more of a better storyteller in the bigger picture.
Right, excellent. I would agree with that. So. Tell me, how has Ian progressed through the series, and how has writing the Weir Chronicles changed you?
Wow. Okay. Well, Ian has started out as kind of taking his life for granted and feeling like he could just become his own person, and he wasn't born with all the tools he was supposed to be for his race and to save the world. So he kind of just felt like he was going to mosey through life. And he discovers, midway through the first book that there's no way of avoiding his destiny, and that he needed to really step up and decide how could he make a difference, especially when he wasn't born with the tools he was supposed to save the earth. And finding that family and putting good people around him and keeping them there and working together as a team was making a big difference as the books progress. And he's to the point now where he totally understands why he needs to be doing what he does and where things are headed and what the ultimate goal is, and totally committed to it now.
Awesome. So, how has writing the books changed you?
I don't get as much sleep. Sleep.
Overrated.
Oh, totally overrated. And also there's not as much free time, but as I used to have. But I've discovered that I kind of like hanging out in the worlds that I create, and so going on a really nice vacation once in a while is not as important as kind of spending time with people I have total control over. So I think that's a plus too.
Right. Whoa! Maybe I dodged a bullet. No, just
Well, I think I think too, it's hard to cope sometimes when you feel like your life is out of your control. And I think I'm a much more relaxed kind of person because I get a lot of that frustration, pent up frustration dealt with in more creative ways and in the bigger picture, fun ways too.
right. Absolutely. So, how is Stack a Deck different from the first three books?
Okay, well, the first book is mainly learning about the world and learning about the characters that are at the center of the story, and pretty much what makes them tick and where they all come from. The second book is about stepping up and a little amping up on some of the conflict, but also the bad guys. There's a huge focus on the bad guys and who's really involved.
Right, that's Mask and Mirrors.
Right, that's Mask and Mirrors. The third book, Sleight of Hand, is there's this whole other realm out there that are fighting the bad guys, and Ian pretty much stumbles into who they are and gets recruited even against his will at first. And so it's finding out the bigger picture, truly, and how everything interconnects in that third book's Sleight of Hand. By Stack a Deck, it's Ian committing and understanding what he's committing to. And, he ends up going to an alternate universe of Earth to find out exactly what the bad guys are capable of and how ruthless and barbaric they can be. And that's where his final commitment, in the book comes from, is he discovers firsthand what his enemy is really all about.
Right. Absolutely. So you've got some twist in Stack a Deck that you probably won't share with us. She won't share. I've been trying to get her to do it, but you'll just have to read the book. But wow, that is awesome. And are you surprised at the level of success you've been able to obtain with writing these books?
Well, I think it's overwhelming. But at the same time, it's so reaffirming that, what you think is fun and entertaining and a good read and adventurous, to find out that there's other people that share that kind of interest and your taste and all of that the same way. I've always been an avid reader, and to know that I'm really entertaining other avid readers and in the genre of speculative fiction, fantasy, and sci-fi is really a dream come true, to be honest. But yeah, that affirmation that all the hard work and the energy that you put into your novels is really being appreciated and enjoyed. That's huge for me.
Right. Can you tell us something that happens in the book that may surprise readers, but it's not a spoiler?
Oh, wow. Well, unlike, because the first three books are based primarily on Earth, there's very little experiences in the other realms or the other dimensions in this world. And so everybody, kind of can identify with Earth. But the fourth book, almost 80% of it takes place on the alternate Earth that's been ravaged. And I had a whole lot of fun creating beasts and other creatures and stuff that, aren't present on Earth. But I also touch upon the fact that, here these bad guys kind of play around with being very godlike, and how some of our creatures that are mythical, that we think of as mythical, like a Loch Ness monster or Bigfoot and all, that they perhaps came from this other world, and that the bad guys have been kind of playing around with teasing Earth and all with these creatures, only for them to come and disappear and come back again, and that there's some basis to some of those myths after all.
Wow, that's a very interesting spin. I would have never thought of that. That's why you're the award-winning, beautiful author, and I'm the talk show host. So, what character in the Weir Chronicles best describes Sue Duff?
They all do. I honestly can say that all my primary core characters are have a piece of me in each one of them. Milo, the caretaker and everything, I love to cook, and he's the consummate, household cleaner and cook, and loves to be in the kitchen. That's where he feels the safest and the most successful. Ian probably has some of my growing pains and my insecurities that I still have even at my age. And Rain is the kind of hard-nosed, kick-ass, heroine that I wish, I probably had been at her age. Patrick has my humor. He has, I give him the best lines. He's got my humor for sure. And Tara's kind of that wanderer who doesn't quite know where she fits in, and she has all the commitment in the world, but it's hard for her to feel like she's needed. Sometimes she has a lot of insecurities. So, they all kind of have pieces of me for sure. And probably even the bad guys, but luckily that's only on paper.
Thank God, because I sure want to get out of the tattered cover today alive. I've got nerd prom tonight, so I think
other things to do.
Folks, I think you're Super David. He's safe. I promise.
Right.
So, with Stack a Deck being book 4, was it easier or harder to write than Fade to Black or Mask and Mirrors or Sleight of Hand?
Fade to Black was years of honing and getting it ready and feeling like it was a good novel, a great novel, and ready to be published and all. Probably close to 30 different rewrites to that entire novel over the years. And every time I learned something, I just kept applying it to that first book, because it was a story I just couldn't let go of. But I also wanted to make it the best I could. As the years have gone on, yes, it's definitely a lot easier. I don't have near as many rewrites, thankfully. And I'm able to, I think I know this story strong enough, and I especially the longer I get into the series, it's easier to write the next book because I know what has to happen, and I'm that intimate, I think, enough with my characters that it's become a lot easier to write those. Excuse me. So I try to get each novel done during the summer and get that out and cranked out, and then on top of that, I also write for Wicked Ink Books, an anthology group. And so I try not only to get a novel ready and off to my editor by the time I go back to work in late August, September, that I also have my short story, the basis of my short story down for that year's anthology. So, yeah, my summers are pretty much writing, so I don't tend to have much of a tan anymore, except for when I take my Great Dane for her daily walks and everything to keep her out of my hair when I am in front of the computer. So.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, I know that you love to cook, and you've got a Great Dane, which is awesome. What are your plans for DCC 2017? And you've got a couple books with you today, the new book, and something else that you've been working on too.
Right. The latest anthology from Wicked Ink Books is called Offbeat, 9 Spins on Song. And we're really excited about this one. It was all of us got together and chose a favorite song and then wrote a short story based on how it inspired us. And some of these are just amazing. Mine is actually about a serial killer from the future, and it was entirely based on the Bangles' Manic Monday. Yeah, we had talked about that. So that's the next anthology. It went live just on Monday on Amazon and stuff. So we just really adore this book. It was fun for all of us to write and to kind of truly be inspired by some of the songs that we've been listening to for a while and had, imagery about. But yeah, DCC 17, I'm excited. This is the third year in a row they've invited me back to be a featured author at Denver Comic Con, and but I've also, for the first time, arranged to get a author table for the entire weekend. So, when I'm not sitting on panels or doing interviews and stuff, I'll definitely be selling my book at my table, or all of my books, my series, the anthologies, and everything then. So it'll be a very long 3 days, but it always energizes me. It's one of my most favorite events of the year. Yeah.
Absolutely, mine too, as well. So, how's your love of cooking going, and what's your favorite dish to prepare?
Oh, wow. I have a lot of favorite things that I prepare. Probably my latest has been between jambalaya and, gosh, what else? Let's see. Jambalaya is a big one. Paella. I like to make paella. Those are a couple. I'm big on desserts. I have a terrible sweet tooth. Always. So it's always something.
Yeah, awesome. Well, folks, the very beautiful, brilliant, and dangerous Sue Duff, award-winning author, awesome cook, owner of a Scooby-Doo dog, a Great Dane. So, Sue, it's a pleasure. I always love having you on Big Show Entertainment Network interview series, and this is no different. So thank you so much for coming on the show. We can't wait to see you at DCC and keep following your career. So any last words for the fans?
Just, keep reading, keep supporting the authors that you enjoy, discover new ones that you haven't. There's a lot of fantastic ones out there.
Awesome. So for Sue Duff, I'm Super Dave Rains with Big Show Entertainment Network interview series. Real people, real interviews, real places, reminding you to always, always own the love.
Thank you.